First and foremost, I want to give all the honors and the praises and the glory belongs to my Lord and Savior, whose name is Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Wahabaka Kodash. Name of the Heavenly Father is Yahweh. Son's name is Yahushai, and who I reverence. And honors to the apostles that are in the Holy Spirit, and to the hopeful elect across the globe, and to the very few brothers and sisters listening and also learning in the hopes of being saved within these last days. This, man, look, I'm going to have to do this video again, because you know what, this is what happens anyway, but bro, that's a good sign. You know, when you upload particular videos, then the video goes missing, and you know you didn't delete that video. Bro, that's Satan, because Satan doesn't want the truth to come out. And how do you combat the devil? You combat the devil with truth. So even though the lesson was removed, we're going to do the lesson again. I have no problem in restarting the lesson again. So this lesson, it was basically on the occult, right? The occultist and the New Ages and so forth. And we're going to go into it. We're going to get straight into it. All right? And what is the occult? The occult is what? Hidden knowledge. All right? Hidden knowledge, which deals with the body, mind, and soul. So they say. All right? Hidden from Latin occulus. Occulus from the Latin occulus. Practices of the occult and particular sciences and codes. Right? So the occult knowledge, yeah, they practice particular sciences and codes. And that ties in with your modern day masonry. Okay? And some call it astronomancy, the art of judging stars, occult influence, planets, and human affairs. So why did it say human affairs? Because even with a lot of these concerts you go to, festivals, right? Even with your traveling, there's set times. You know, everything has set times to it. Who do you think's behind that? Is high-level witches, warlocks. And in every town, I don't know if you knew this, but now you know, in every town, there's a witch appointed to every single town within that city. So even within London, in every town, in every borough, there's a high-level witch. Or should I call it priestess or priest? Right? The women, they would call it priestess. Right? Some of them are dressed up in all white, right? Gowns or dresses, right? Because this is all the occult, right? But occultism is not going to save you. Okay? And when you look up the woman Helena Blavatsky, well, I believe she was Russian, right? Russian. Okay, what was she into? Really, occultism. And what is occultism? When you really want to know what is it? It is Satanism. You can call it occultism all you want. It's Satanism. It's the worshipping of Satan. Really, it's the worshipping of different religions, all merged into one. Right? So she was a Satanist. She studied, people that are into the occultist, they study every single philosophy. But the scriptures tell us not to do that. Okay. So bear with me just a minute. Baba Kasha. I don't mind. Esau doesn't want this word to get out, but the word is getting out. Right? So Helena Blavatsky, right? A Russian mystic. Right? She was a Russian mystic. What does it mean by mystic? They call it spiritual guru. A spiritualist and a philosopher. So, code name for spiritualists, they call them gurus, right? And a co-founder of Theosophy, and she so-called founded the Theosophical Society in 1875. And she combined particular so-called Asian beliefs, right? And occultism. Because people that practice occultism, what does that tie in with? It ties in with the Sanskrits, the Indian Sanskrits and all that rubbish, right? The Bhagavad Gita and all that rubbish, right? And yeah, they tap into something called the third eye. But they're doing it on the left-hand side. So this is why you've got to be careful what you're doing. Because We don't call it the third eye. We just call it discernment and knowledge, right? And so forth. But they tap into something called the third eye, right? And a lot of that goes back to India, right? And so forth. The red, the white dot on their head means elite. The black dot means defeat, right? And they notice they got it in the middle of their heads. So a lot of the occultism is also tied in with so-called Indian philosophies as well. Okay? And, right, another thing, your so-called Tupac, yeah, your favorite rapper, right? Yeah, your favorite rapper. And yeah, I do listen to Tupac's music. Some of his music some of it's quite good. Before he turned to the, before he went to death row. Because before he went to death row, what was he doing? He's bringing out that revolutionary music until the Masons got hold of him, right? And paid him off to corrupt your mind. He was even a student, I forgot the woman's name, but he was an occultist himself. And that's why you have him in these images doing the triangle signs, which is the pyramid, right? Because Tupac was a part of the occult, right? Thug life. And guess what? You know when you look up to that word thug, guess what that goes back to? India, right? Look up the word thug. The thug goes back to India, which was a gang. I can look it up. Quickly look it up. Give me just a minute. So what you're going to find out is a lot of this occultism is everywhere and all around you. So let's quickly go into that word thug and see what comes up. Right? Yeah, he had that whole thing, thug life. And he had our people following that. Right? Type in this word thug. Thug, a member of gang of murderers and robbers in India who strangled their victims. From Maveti, tag, cheat, swindler. From the Hindi, tag. From the Sanskrit. Alright? So that word thug is a Hindu name for the system of religious assassination practiced by thugs. Right? So the philosophy that he was rolling with was the occult philosophy of India. So even your lot of rappers, they were set up. Right? They may have been revolutionary at one point, but then they became compromised. Right? They became compromised. Remember, this so-called Tupac individual, he was in prison, right? But he was scared, he was getting death threats and so forth. So, who came to his rescue? His handler, which was Suge Knight. And bailed him out, paid him out. But in order to bail him out, he had to make, what, 3 or 4 albums. That's why he made that double album. And another album. Alright? But he sold his soul. Right? He sold his soul. Right? And then the Masons got hold of him. And yeah, it was in fact, he was being gang-stalked. Yeah, Tupac was being gang-stalked as well. But then he woke up to the truth and he wanted to expose it, but they took him out. Right? So even your favourite rappers, your celebrities, they're all into the occultism. Madonna, high-level witch. Right? And that Madonna, what does that got? That name Madonna, that goes back to the church. We have Madonna and the sun. That goes back to Catholicism. Right? And she's into Scientology. So this whole kingdom its roots are in ideology, occultism, symbols, triangles, pyramids, stars, circles. Yeah, they even use circles. Alright? So I want to get straight into this. Lord, when this be edifying. So this Helen Blavatsky, she delved into all types of forms of religions. Even your scientists, your so-called great scientists and physicists, they were studying every type of religion. Where do you think they got their ideas from? Demons. Because demons can also give you ideas as well on how to build, how to form things. Right? Oh man, so now let's go to Timothy's. I just want to make sure I get everything in right order. Yeah, these were witches and warlocks, right? And the scriptures are suffer not a witch to live. But we were once in the occult. whether we knew it or not. Right? But once you wake up, you're supposed to get out of that rubbish. Okay? So, Baba Kasha. Go to 1 Timothy's. Right? Now the Spirit speaketh expressly that in a latter time some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits. When you go to that word seducing spirit, it's an alluring spirit. It's this tramp, rover. One who seeks to allure from what? The faith. So we have seducing spirits that would try to allure you from the faith. Right? And doctrines of devils. So, seducing spirits and doctrines of devils. So, Helena Blavatsky, if I'm saying her right, if I'm saying her name right, she was teaching doctrines of devils. She came up with her own philosophies. Same with Aleister Crowley. Aleister Crowley was traveling what? Different parts of the earth to learn, to study different philosophies. Right? He was teaching doctrines of devils. Right? And who else do you have? Anton LaVey. You go and look up Anton LaVey. He formed the Church of Satan. So hold on a minute. He actually had a church. I thought a church is supposed to be holy. Yeah, the Church of Satan. Right? And certain musicians actually went to his church. Right? So it says teaching doctrines of devils. So these individuals, that's what they are. They have seducing spirits on them. And they have not just seducing spirits. Go to Revelation 16 and 13. And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon. We went into this several times. Right? 3 unclean spirits, which represents your the 3 city-states? Washington, right, in America. Your laws come out of your military as well. Them unclean spirits are dealing with the military as well. And also, what else? London, right? London is the unclean frog as well. Okay. And it says, Babakasha, come out of the mouth of the dragon. And the third one is what? The false prophet, which would be your churches, the Catholic Church, which is universal, right? And where did they get that universal doctrine from? Excuse me just a minute. Where did they get that universal doctrine from? That's not in the scriptures. They got that from Babylon. Remember when they all came together to build the Tower of Babel? And the modern Tower of Babel, I believe, is there's a building that looks just like it. Where was it? In Belgium? Bear me just a minute. Let me pause it here. Yeah. So what was I saying? Yeah. Even in London, you have what? Right. You have that wheel, right? The eye, right? The London Eye. Oh, that's occultism. Oh, that is occultism. The London Eye, the wheel that goes round, right? The needle of Cleopatra, the gherkin. Do you know there's masonry behind these buildings? It's all occultism. You have the guilds. When you cross the bridge, and when you cross that bridge, there's a particular energy it gives off. That's the occultism knowledge. Right? Have you ever wondered why when you go to one place and another place of London, the energy feels very demonic? Because the occultism. Alright? For they are the spirits of devils, right? And we went to Slovakia. Let me slow down. So you have the 3 city-states. Washington, you have the military, right? You have Brussels, that the legislation, right? And you got that building that looks just like what's it? Babel, right? The Tower of Babel, right? Where they bring forth their legislation. And you also have London, right? Which is the financial district, but it's still an unclean frog, right? And yes, the Catholic Church, which deals with universalism, which goes back to Babal, right? Because they practice the occult practices, right? And you notice, what do most Christians say? The Lord loves everybody. Well, guess what? That's universalism, right? Jehovah's Witness, Pentecostal, Methodist, Baptist, Protestant. That's all dealing with the false prophet, with them unclean spirits, right? Verse 14, for they are the spirit of devils, working miracles. So Helen, what's her name? Helen Pablatsky. She had the spirit of devils working miracles. Your physicist, your scientist, the spirit of devils working miracles. Because when you ask most of them, they would say, yeah, we had help. We had help. Well, when they say they had help, who did they get help? Who helped them? Them idols, them demons they pray to. Right? With a lot of these buildings. Ultimately, it was Yahweh Shai because he controls everything. He gives man wisdom. But the devils also, use technology as well. Working miracles which go on forth unto the kings of the earth and the whole world to gather them to the battle of the great day of power. Almighty. Right? So these were spirits of devils working miracles. So the occultism, what does it deal with? It deals with spirits of devils. Right? That's what it deals with. And the occultism, if you look around you, you'd be able to see it everywhere. It's in your local fields, right? Even if you were to be in a plane, you don't need to be in a plane, but if you were like up and you could see above it, you'd see the occultism. In certain landscapes, even certain landscapers, they deal with the occult. Certain patterns, right? It's all around you. Look at the buildings. Just look at your local houses. The roofs, the roofs are triangular, right? A roof doesn't have to be triangular. Some might say, no, it has to be that way. So when it rains, no, it doesn't have to be that way. You could have a roof that's cylinder type roof. You can have a square roof. It doesn't have to be triangle. Because it's the occult. So once you wake up to this truth, you're able to see everything for what it really is. The way the whole infrastructure is built up. Everything. Right? The occultism. The idols. You remember that store? It used to be open. I remember when I was younger, my parents used to go to that store. It used to be called Apollo. And you would get your video games there, your movies. Apollo. What does Apollo go back to? That's a Greek name, a Greek idol. Apollos. Argos. You got that store Argos. Right? What is Argos? Bro, Argos goes back to what? Greek. These are idols. Starbucks. When you go to Starbucks to get your coffee, right, and your latte, what do you have? What symbol do you have on Starbucks? It's a woman with snakes coming out of her head like Medusa. So everywhere around you is full of occult. Everywhere. Even in your household, but you got to get rid of these things. It's everywhere. Right? So this society is built upon idolism, Satanism, because the god of this world is Satan. Right? And he requires that you reverence him, but we're supposed to reverence Yahweh Shai. I hope this is edifying. Right? What's her name? Helena Blavatsky. Right? And there was many more of them. She wasn't the only one. Right? That's why you've got to be careful what you're getting into. 2 Corinthians 11 and 13. For such are false apostles. So Paul is warning us of these individuals. Deceitful workers. And this associates with the New Age movement. Right? What's the New Age movement? Same thing. It's the same thing. The New Age movement is Satanism. So when we talk about Helen Blavatsky, she was part of the New Age movement. This is who these people look up to. But you have these New Agers bringing out the scriptures. Some of them. Right? And trying to twist it because Satan can present himself. We go into it. For such are false apostles. Yeah, you have false apostles in this truth. and outside of the truth within the New Age community, right? Deceitful workers, yeah, they're very deceitful, right? They're not light workers. They say, oh, light workers, star seeds. No, they're not light workers. And that word gives it away. They say star seeds. The scriptures don't talk about nothing about star seeds. It talks about the day dawn star, which is Yahweh Shai. The scriptures in Isaiah 14 talk about Lucifer. Lucifer, how would I cast down, that did weaketh the nations. Right? Because he's going to be cast down to a lower state. Lucifer just means light bearer. That's all. But the people on the left-hand side, yeah, they worship Lucifer in terms of the spiritual demon Satan, because Satan is also known as Lucifer. But he has a light, but he has a false light. He has a dim light, because he's a counterfeit. Satan's a counterfeit. He's a copycat leader, soul stealer. That's what he is. Right? Deceitful workers. So the New Age movement, they're deceitful. They're liars. They got them same unclean spirits. Transforming themselves into the apostles of Mashiach. Transforming. So that's why we don't want to be deceived. Right? They're acting like they're about the scriptures, but they're not about the scriptures. Because if you really were, you would, the scripture says in Isaiah 30, seek ye out of the book of the Lord Yahweh. Right? And you cannot make any other book, I'm paraphrasing. So you can't make any other book with the scriptures, with the Holy Bible. You can't bring all that other rubbish that you learned in the world and merge that with the truth. Right? Because when you do that, what's that? That's unclean spirits. Okay? You can't do that. You can't be reading the Quran and reading the Bhagavad Gita or whatever you want to call it. Right? And all these Book of the Dead, the 48 laws of Ma'at, and try to merge it, because that's a conflict in your mind. There's demons that are attached to these books. Now, is there particular books we read? Yeah, for certain info. But then everything has to be filtered through the scriptures. Because if you're not doing that, you're going to be carried to and fro with every wind of doctrine. So let's continue on 2 Corinthians 11 and 14. And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. So you're going to get New Agers that present the Bible before you, but they don't really have a true understanding. Well, you know what? Certain things they may know, but they don't have the spirit of Yahweh Shai. Because if they did, they wouldn't be part of the New Age movement. If they really did. So they're deceivers. Alright? For Satan himself transformed into an angel of light. Which what? Light bearer. Transformed. Because Satan can manipulate his appearance. Okay? Bear me just a minute. So lucky this hay fever's playing up, pollen season. So it says, for no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. So Satan can manipulate his appearance. Right? So this whole New Age thing is not of the scriptures. Right? All that goes back to the different religions and the idols that these people are attached to. That's what it is. It's like a gumbo pot of trading different ideas. And we're not supposed to do that. The scriptures tell us not to do that. Therefore, it is no great thing if his ministers also be transformed as ministers of righteousness. So you're also going to have ministers of righteousness. Be transformed by what? The renewing of our mind. Right? Whose end shall be according to their works. So we've established that. So anyone can come to you. This is why you have to have discernment. Because anybody can come to you if you're not really studied and bring out something in the scriptures. Because Satan knows the scriptures as well. Okay, how do we know? Go to Matthews. Let's go to an example of Satan knowing the scriptures. I hope this is edifying. Go to Matthews 4 and 6. Right? Go to verse 5. Then the devil taketh him up into a holy city and setteth him on a pinnacle of the temple, who the Messiah, and saith unto him, If thou be the Son of the Most High, cast thyself down, for it is written, He shall give his angels charge concerning thee, and in their hands they shall bear thee up, lest any time thou dash thy foot against a stone. Alright? So the devil quoted I believe it's Psalms 91. Alright? So yeah, Satan could even come to you with scriptures as well and try to trick you. Alright? Because he knows the scriptures are okay. So that shows you he also comes as an angel of light. Right? So we went to that. Go to Ephesians. Yeah, most of your rappers, your actors, they are part of the occult. And that's why that Tupac, he had that song called what? California Love. Right? California Love. Why do you think he done that? So, bro, there's a meaning behind the songs as well. And type in the word Cali, it goes back to, again, an Indian idol. Right? With his tongue stuck out. Right? So that song, really, it was more than California in LA. That was dedicated to an idol called Kali from India. Go to Ephesians. So where was that? Ephesians 4. Go to Ephesians. This is why we got to be grounded in this truth. Ephesians 4 and 14. That we henceforth be no more children tossed to and fro. So, gullible. Tossed to and fro, not knowing what's what. And carried about with every wind of doctrine by the sleight of men. Every wind of doctrine. So we can't just be taken in every doctrine that comes our way. By the sleight of men and cunning craftiness. So it says sleight, which is trickery. What does the magician use? Tricks. Alright? Sleight of men and cunning craftiness, whereby they lay in wait to deceive. So I always say the only way that magic works is if you buy into it. Right? The only way that hypnotism works is if you relax. I was watching the videos on hypnotism yesterday. If you relax yourself and accept them thoughts that are being said. Right? But let's stay on point. The sleight of men and cunning craftiness, whereby they lay in wait to deceive. So that's what the devil does. Lays in wait to deceive. Right? Cunning craftiness. So we went to that. See what else we can find. Go to Colossians. Bear me just a minute. This is Colossians 2. And go straight to verse 4. And this I say, lest any man shall beguile you with enticing words, just how Eve was beguiled by that serpent. Alright? With enticing words. So some things, you may watch certain videos, and some things may sound on point, but they're not on point. Alright? For though I be absent in the flesh, yet I am with you in the spirit, joying and beholding your order and steadfast of your faith in Mashiach. Verse 6, as you have received therefore Yahushua Mashiach, Lord, so ye walk ye in him, not in of these other things we've been taught. Verse 7, rooted and built up in him. So if you're rooted, you're grounded. Right? Established in the faith. So anybody can come to you with any madness, and you get the scriptures to combat that. As you have been taught, abounding therein with thanksgiving. Verse 8, beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy. You see how these precepts think? Through philosophy. Because the New Age movement is basically, it's a trade of philosophies and religions. Alright? and vain deceit. It's vain deceit as well. Because it is vain, because it's idols. Idols are vain and it's deceitful. After the tradition of men and the rudiments of the world, and not after Mashiach. So this is all according to the tradition of men, rudiments of the world, which is circuit, and not after Mashiach. For in him dwelleth all the fullness, who Yahushua of the Godhead bodily. Godhead means the divine one. And you are completing him, which is the head of all principality and power. So we're completing Yahushua intact. And it says, which is the head of all principalities, them spirits. So he's over them spirits and power. Bro, this is powerful. Right, so we're not supposed to be going back and forth. Because some people say, well, maybe, don't you want to trade ideas? Like, let's trade some ideas. No, go to Proverbs 24 and 21. My son, fear the Lord Yahushua and King. Meddle not with them that are given to change. So we're not supposed to be meddling with them that are given to that change. Right? And it says, Baba Kashaf, for their calamity shall rise suddenly, and who knoweth the ruin of them both. So it says the calamity is going to rise of them suddenly, those that believe in them false philosophies. And if you join them as well. Alright? So with this, I hope this was edifying. I hope I got the main points out. And to the next time, shalom to the... Oh, one more thing as well. It's Ecclesiastes 19. Satan ain't going to stop this way. It doesn't really matter as well. You know what these people got to say. Go to Ecclesiastes 19. Because guess what? If we were useless, if we were we wouldn't have the works that we have. And that's all through Yahushua. Alright? They have the spirit of Satan. They're doing the Satan's work. And we're doing Yahushua's. Alright? Can't get swayed by what other people think. Alright? Ecclesiastes 19. And guess what? If you were useless, you wouldn't be able to do this work efficiently. Right? To be useless means you don't have a talent. You're lukewarm. Right? And the scripture says, if you are lukewarm, I'll spew thee out. But I want to stay on point. Ecclesiastes 19, 22. The knowledge of wickedness is not wisdom. Neither at any time the counsel of sin is prudence. So the knowledge of wickedness, that's not true wisdom. But they use this esoteric knowledge to deceive people. Right? That's how they use it, to deceive people. Alright? Esoteric, they use it to manipulate the masses. Right? To manipulate, right? To change certain things, which makes you a witch and a warlock. Basically. Right? We're not supposed to be using wisdom to deceive people. Right? So the knowledge of wickedness is not wisdom. Neither at any time the counsel of sin is prudence. Alright? And there's a lot of people that take counsel against what? The elect. But it says, neither is any time the counsel of sin is prudence. That's not prudence. Right? They all get together in that fucking hive mentality, having secret counsel against you. But that's all gonna fall. Right? And they go behind your back and do it as well. That's why it says in Psalm 64, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked. That's why you don't really want to be telling everybody what you're doing. Because then Satan could jump on them. They could be an agent of Satan. Now they're following you. Now they want to stop you in your tracks. But Lord willing, this was edifying. Right? And until the next time, shalom to the hopeful elect. Shalom.